positivo e provavelmente considerarlo come positivo.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank the honorable judges for being given the opportunity to give the report, and also a huge thanks to the honorable moderator, and also to the people that are within the chamber. And we, from the open opposition, would like to state that they should start reconsidering in regards to this motion, as to we agree that schools, academic institutions should consider implementing esports within the school curriculum and very much more around the education system. Now, the reason as to why I am stating this as much as possible. There are many benefits. But first, I would like to review on what the honorable gentleman had to say in regards to this motion. First things first is the school cannot provide facilities for both, whether it be for stabilizing between academic and also extracurriculars in general. One thing is for sure that it really depends on the extracurricular in itself and how they communicate between the school and how well they organize within the extracurricular as well. There are many factors that we have to consider in extracurriculars. One thing is for sure, there's scheduling. There's also the amount of people that are participating as members of the extracurriculars. And also, who is their leader and who is their trainer, their coach for said extracurricular. And thus, I would like to state, furthermore, that it really depends on the extracurricular, how well they communicate between the school, and how well they also communicate between the students in itself, and how well they prioritize. The second that I also want to address from what the honorable gentlewoman from the opening government has stated is that the students lack focus and prioritization. I would like to say once more that there are solutions to this problem. One, there's counseling. We all have counseling. We all within our school. The benefits of counseling is to, one, prioritize the mental health of students. Second, to also find the root problem, the root cause of what they're currently facing towards. Reaching for help. And also, they should be able, individually, to prioritize what they want to prioritize. Extracurriculars are named extracurriculars because they have a purpose. Their purpose are extras. They're not main. It is not the main factor, but it is just a secondary factor. And thus, you can choose to either prioritize it or not. It is within the individual to schedule and which one they want to prioritize. It depends on the environment. Third is the laziness of the students from being here. That is a fact. First things first, it really depends on the individual school on how they handle said problems, on how they handle it. Why is the student not focusing more academically? What is going on? It is within their responsibility as guardians and teachers as well to focus on what this student is going through and how it's handled. I also want to point that even though esports might cause stress or frustration, academics within the educational level also causes stress. So this way of esports or gaming in general from the individual is either a way of escapism, entertainment, a break, or basically a way to relax. Now I want to go ahead and focus more so on my points in regards to this motion. There are many benefits. There are plenty of more benefits to this one program alone. One thing is for sure that I want to address from the opening opposition is that it opens wider opportunities for students and also for the educational institute, whether that be a school or a college. We can see as of right now happening in America, or in Europe, or in Asia, or Oceania, that there are scholarships from universities
esports tournaments. We treat electronic sports the same way as other sports. It is competitive, it is a tournament, and thus it opens wider opportunities for students and for the school in itself. It has benefits, and we have to realize that. Another thing for sure is that also benefits for schools. More so in its students in itself. It develops either character or knowledge. First, it educates them around technology. Within this digital era, we all have to be knowledgeable about technology that is surrounding us all the way through. And thus, with this opportunity given, it educates them about technology, computer hardware, home hardware, IT-related stuff that would be beneficial to them, whether it be through esports or through other factors as well. And also, through character, we can see that they are teaching them about teamwork, communication, chemistry, and many much more. Being able to work not just individually, but together. There's also a difference between gaming and esports that I want to address. Esports, from the definition, from what the Honorable Gentleman has stated, is that it is digital sports, and they're treated just like any other sport, while gaming is a form of entertainment, like what I stated before. And thus, that is why I want people that are within this chamber to realize the amount of benefits that esports may garner and also contribute to us as a digital society. And that is why we, from the opening opposition, would like to go ahead and encourage people to take as much opportunities there are, especially within this digital era. That is it from me, from the opening opposition. I would like to thank you once again for being given the floor and the opportunity to be able to state my points and my rebuttals. Once more, thank you all so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Next is Dr. Wednesday, Speaker of the
We have guests from the PBA. So the two girl and boy sitting back, from the back.
And there's the article, there's
The girl is the chair, the chief.
the chairman.
Yes.
And you were
No, I'm not. Just the chief of division.
I'll start my speech on 3, 2, 1. Okay, first, I thank the participants, the judges, and moderators, and our teacher for us to be here. So, I'm from SM High School 1 Goa. My name is Indra Roma. Here I am as the second speaker of the opening government. So, allow me to deliver my opinion first before respond to the opening opposition opinion. First, sport is less beneficial sector than commerce, education, technology, development, and etc. Sport will bring much benefits in the game, skills, and success and training in the society. We know that game is not a forever sector that is has a long term of benefits like technology, education, and commerce. As an example, we see that not all competitive teams are trained here. Mostly the competitive teams that are trained here is Mobile Legends that have so much interest to our teenagers. But for the other competitive games such as Overwatch, Valorant, Dota 2, it's really less trending here. So it means when it's less trending here, then not many of us play the games. And it's be less beneficial for the player, but we see that most of them didn't really compete and didn't really dedicate to the game itself and didn't really have the skill to make a strategy from the game. We often see that they compare other pro player games, other pro player game strategy. As an example, for the one that really popular in Mobile Legends game sector is Bagi Taka. We often call it Taka. He was an esport player, but he moved to commerce game rather than dedicate himself to esport world because he said by himself that esport isn't trending and short-term income benefits. The second one is about extracurricular. Extracurricular is a place to grow their talent, but unfortunately, sport extracurricular is still a taboo thing to be happen here, especially at the public school that is under government. We know that our money from government didn't have that much to facilitate the students, especially for the fast internet access that is really hard to be found in Indonesia and it's really expensive to pay for. The second is present device to play. We know that not all phones can run Mobile Legends properly. We need like desktop device, desktop phone to play with it so we can play it really smooth and really easy. For example, let's just imagine we have esport extracurricular. There will be most expensive facilities that school provides, and we know a lot of our public school didn't have that much money for their facilities and internet access. So instead of solving esport extracurricular problems and funds to pay more attention to general sector talent development than esport development. The third, school level sport competition, giving more harm than good to the students. Mostly of the sport participant students, it didn't have a decent skill to be competitive with. The school was likely to pick the participants that are likely to play the game that is not the one that's skilled and dedicated enough to the game. And we know, like I said before, so much students or teenagers having a big ambitions about this competitive game. So for example is we often declare a classmate competition and sport competition and it's not going well because we often see most of the team is not skilled enough to play the game. And I'll respond the opposition opinion. The opposition opinion said that schedule school can be organized to the extracurricular sport in Indonesia. But what I see is in our public school under government, we are spending
The word of the Benjamin government is considered of the opposition.
I would like to start my speech in 1, 2, 3. Alright, good morning everyone. At first, I would like to say that today I will be the representative for the second speaker of the opening competition. And I would like to thank the very honorable jury for giving me this floor to where I can actually state that us as the opening competition will disagree on this of regrets of the implementation of esports in school. Now, I would like to point out my points first, and then I would like to review what the honorable ladies have said when we open government. So first, my first point is that let's say we no longer implement esports in our school, and there will be the motion has mentioned that it will regret that implementing esports in schools would actually bring more harm than it is from good. But the thing is that we would also regret not implementing esports to begin with. And why is that? Because there might be a chance of ignorance of advanced knowledge in technology. And why is that? Without esports, students will lack the knowledge of computer or basic IT knowledge, how to operate a computer, or maybe how to use your controllers, because there are multiple types of them. And because of this, that will technically mean you will not be advancing or moving forward with the current technology, and you will be left behind. And because of that, will not be advanced enough to catch up with what's going around the world, because technology is always advancing, and that is what I will state in my first point. My second point is that it's the ability of open opportunities in the future careers. Now, what is this? There is a new case of a vocational student within the computer and game development team. Now, and they have made a game called Protect My Cheese, and it is available on Steam and has garnered at least 20,000 downloads worldwide. And with that, the developer actually now has a chance to be in Japan to study more about game development and basically have more open careers around the country, or maybe outside the country as well as inside our country in Indonesia. Now, there is also something I want to specify is that this is within a school environment. And even if this is a school environment, this can still go on forward for future careers eventually. Now, what is the example of that? Is ownership opportunities. As what is mentioned by my very lovely partner from the opening opposition, is that it opens more opportunities for students being called by certain schools to represent their esports team. And why is that? Because the game industry is always rapidly growing. And with that, there have been more esports events lately within the internet overseas or even Indonesia itself. And with that, maybe so far that winners can actually gain scholarship opportunities from certain game companies as well. And I would like to mention about the mental health concerns within the opening government, which one, I totally understand and sympathize with it. But there are also certain things I would like to clarify is that is that this is within a school environment, outside the environment as well. And within the school environment, there is always a teacher responsible for how to teach students and how they can approach esports. Basically, is that mental concerns are very likely to happen, but within the counseling can actually help students. And why? Because within the school scenario, there are teachers who are paid to share with students, and parents who are mostly aware that they can assist in these students in mental or emotional distress, either that be the lack of attention span, stress, or so on and so forth. And not because of this conflict. Okay, no more.
Okay. So, of course, you say that through video games we can add technology more, but we know that before the video games we use the smartphone first and the computer first and learn how to operate it before we know the video game. And second was using
I understand your concerns when it comes to the phone first before the video games, but either way, it's still technology and fashion at the same time. So, like, whether or not, you're still connected to the way in technology development. And now, I would like to review a couple of points versus 1 type tournaments. And it's actually very viral, and in the internet, there has also been a sort of like awesome moves so on and so forth. And the next point is that not all games are really esports. And I would like to mention in esports, there is always an organization, and within esports, there is always an organization responsible of the ongoing tournament itself. And they will also choose the certain games that will be used for competing. Because not every game is meant for esports to begin with. For example, Valorant. Valorant isn't less friendly. It's actually one of the top games in esports, and it actually operates on the need of a lot of strategy. And also, I would like to mention on the point that you have mentioned, the lady on the open government, is that the ban Wi-Fi makes similar concerns. And this is within a school scenario again. It depends on how the school approaches to begin with. But as long as the counselors are not a part of the extracurricular in esports, they can actually propose for a better signal or better facilities. Because why? It's not only esports that actually have this concerning topic. Every single extracurricular in school still needs better facilities. And not only just esports, with the lack of like technology, flow, computers, other extracurriculars are also concerned of that. Let's say basketball, they don't have a field, they have to rent out outside of school as well. And I would like to specify that us as the opening opposition would disagree with this motion at this moment, and we would actually agree on the implementation of esports in school as it can benefit future careers and even going forward as to provide future opportunities for students in the next 5 years. Thank you for your time. I would like to end my speech here.
To open the closing page, we go for the first speaker of the Council Government.
I would like to start my speech with 3, 2, 1. Thank you for all the guests here, and the all communities here, and also the all participants that joined the okay. First thing first, graduates, I would like to spirit my debate in 2 times. Firstly, I would like to depend on my opponent, my peer opponent, and the second one, I would like to give my argument. The first opposition here telling the argument that school can provide the facilities for the sport extracurricular because of the complication. It depends on complication. But the reality, judges, we know the opening opposition and also closing opposition is no friends as a parent the experience in private school. I mean, we are from SMA Purbalaya and also SMA Satu Sekolah. I mean, we are public school here, and also I am very depend on APBN. We know that where we can see like it's not only about the extracurricular in sport maybe. We can divide it like this one. If we want to go to what is it, to IT, to laboratory IT maybe, there is no computer of that. It is very much of computer. I think that technology of my school is very something extra. Because even if in the private school, because of the private school is paid tuition, paid fee tuition, paid school tuition, so there is a problem here. They can improve the facility and also the technology of the skill, something like that. Okay. The second one, the first opposition team mentioned that if there is problem, there is a counseling teacher. I mean that if there is a mental health because of the extracurricular in sport, there is a counseling mentor. It can be solving problem, but the problem here, how can we define the problem firstly? If we are dividing what is it, take the literature first. Caring ethic, I mean WHO, we have mentioned that caring ethic is also a mental disorder. And it is not only a mental disorder because we know that there's so many teenagers here, what is it, impact can affect to stroke. Like, what is it, brain cancer and so many more. And then because of it, the counseling teacher, I mean, they can realize how to implement and how to solve the problem if there is a teacher, getting in a stroke or brain cancer, something like that. Okay. How can you go to the opening opposition, the second opening opposition? They say that because of extracurricular of esports, there are so many getting even, and then it can be also improve the social skills, something like that. we want to face the reality, because this motion, we can review what happened in the status quo, something like that one. I would like to say, because most of the people in Indonesia who don't know Mobile Legends or Free Fire or Genshin Impact, etc., we can remember that maybe people who join in sport competition, it is only less than 10%. The 90% people who play game in Mobile Legends, Free Fire, and etc., they just only play the game and they didn't join the competition as well. Something like that. Because we can mention it. So, my argument here and my development is very, very important point. Something like this one. Move to our argument. We know that motion first is this house. We create a proliferation of the sport ecosystem in school, including extracurricular sport activities and school level sport competition. Something like this one. The core purpose, the main purpose of education is build more capability in academic, non-academic, character, and also social skill. I will highlight one point. Character. Okay. Second one. People. We know that so many games, joining sport competition such as Genshin. We can divide who are playing Genshin Impact over here. We can really see what is people, who are joining in the game and playing it. They can see what the board practice here over here. So many characters. It is only they use only underwear. It's only public clothes. It is very, very urgent. Make lack of character, something like that. Because of it, we can also divide. If you want to play Mobile Legends in here, over here, it is based on the status quo. It can be also make a racism, like this one. Maybe all people here can define like, maybe see if we will see like in TikTok and something like this one, who they make content about the game. They can always say like this. It is like a very, very racism, because if you want to play Mobile Legends, it is also a video game. It is not only about not only really competitive moment, because when you are joining a playing game, you just only get entertainment. You just only want to get some like a funny moment, something like that one. Because of it, the people who join in the playing game, they can make like a very, very cruel moment, like a very, very terrible moment, because they can also make like a racism, like also they hate speech and something like this one. I would like to really divide the next my argument is the student who attend in gaming, they just only focus in education. Even the opening opposition say gaming also can improve social skills. But in the reality, based on the data from WHO, the people who play the game, they spend the time in per day is more than 10 hours. 10 hours is very, very long time. If we want to increase our education level, we can push the student to more book, like something better than you just play a game and then you just like get advertising, something like this one. Because it is a very, very crucial moment that you have, something like that. Okay, I would like to say about the status quo again and again. You know GTA, then all these people, and there's a cases in America, such as people who join in GTA, they play GTA. But because also GTA teach the user too easily to kill someone, and the worst case has been happened, they do in the reality. This case has been happened. People, because when the police, like the justice, the victim, justice the mother, they answer the question from the police like this one. Because I ever in my home, I ever played video game GTA. It is a very, very real event that we can define clearly, something like this one. Okay, changes. We look at social ethics is very, very important thing. Okay? Important thing, I mean that people who join in playing video game, they just meet people, they never meet people in real life, something like because if you already want to focus only in the gadget, maybe from morning until night, you just already
Next, we welcome the first speaker of closing opposition.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Bima Ashihasato from
students' motivation in technology. One of the example is Farahudin Fatah. He managed to win a sport competition in ML with his phone because of e-sport organization in his school. An e-sport competition in Jawa Timur. He managed to bring good example of e-sport extracurricular going viral and in good light. He didn't just stop there. He actually motivated other schools and the Moodle developer itself to give 6 scholarships to 6 schools. I would like to point out a lot of great opportunities with e-sport and technology, like college and scholarship. So many students that gain motivation through e-sports, such as Nico made a game with his friend, partner Giga. It's called Smells Good and Cocoa. He managed to push their games developer because they are motivated by esports itself. About the financial problem, I would like to give my opinion as well. Phones are our priorities, second priorities. Most of students in regular school, if it's yeah. But since most of students already have phones, ML, like mobile games, is very known with students. And phones is already priorities, which is, it's not a problem anymore. And if they actually go seriously with the topic like esports, like they're, oh yeah, I'm going to focus my extracurricular with only my phone, and that's enough. Because if they actually win the competition by getting serious in extracurricular, they will gain their the first position, and they will get money, and they will yes.
Because if you give the example, people can get money from esports, something like this one. It just only, I mentioned before, it just only 10%, but 90% people who join in playing video game, they didn't join in sport competition, they just do for fun, something like this one. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much. I think for us CEO, the 90% itself of the people who didn't join the esport is not the esport problem itself. It's individual problem. Why? Because gaming is not esport. Like gaming is a form of entertainment. Like the opening opposition said. Esport is something more serious. The 90% you mentioned is not really esport. Like I said, it's not. Oh, thank you. And I would like to review something from closing government. GTA is not esports. It's just gaming. It doesn't count as esports, so it is irrelevant. That is all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Next is the honorable second speaker of North Government.
school as extracurricular. And you know that from the opening of talking about that, the ambition of Maria is not fair, and this job isn't a long-term job. So you know that if you know about the family, SMB, church, and they make some kind of gaming by Minecraft or something, but you know that they don't, they scream, but right now they have some kind of difference income pursuit. So it's better to not, let's say, super this kind of extracurricular, because it's not a long-term education or even a long-term job. And you know, this from the opening government talking about the most expensive, but it's like honestly, this extracurricular is not the most expensive. You know the problem is it about the expensive only. This archery also an expensive extracurricular. We have archery. I mean, in SMA we have archery extracurricular, but it has important issue. Is the important issue from this sport is like this is doesn't have a clear benefits for students or some kind of important benefit for the students. Yeah, and once again, from the opening opposition, as the speaker too said about it, it's for the represent e-sport for their school. But you know that those who represent e-sport in school doesn't make the school look sport. So we better like make this extracurricular. It's like have because this extracurricular really have some kind of more harm than good. And yeah. From the posting government review to the post government, as my team said that, you know, they also talking about the facilities and communication, but my team said that there's like boundaries for this public school and the private school. And you know, this negative impact that coming from our team is once again I'm going to tell you that there's pornography and such like that CD bag and mobile legends has been designed. It show off some parts that not polite for teenagers at school. And what's the point of having proliferation for e-sport in school? So it means that schools support the pornography. So you know that. Once again, the WHO as my definition that claims this e-sport thing can turn into addiction and be classified as one of the mental health issue. And so the school wants to make their student having an addiction in this field, proliferation, this extracurricular. And you know, there is no important benefit about e-sport. If we talk about sports, they use physical, but in e-sport games, you sit for 3 hours and the only thing that moves is your like your middle finger. And I don't think you're gonna make a muscle for your middle finger. But yeah, and this conclusion is like we can provide all of people wants our hobbies, and you know that schools should provide something that has important benefits than this e-sport that has more harm than good. Even the parents use the benefit to play games in the house to watch, and you know that. But if the school still proliferating this e-sport extracurricular, that means the school betraying the parents because the parents choose the school to education of playing video games. Yeah, and once again, you know that my teammates just said that social skills wouldn't improve by playing games because most of them spend their time with gadgets but not interact in people in real life. And yeah, you know that their teenagers still couldn't control emotions, so they're gonna adopt what's in their game and also easily cursing. So yeah, that's it for the conclusion of the student. And once again, that the most relevant argument is like coming from our team. So thank you. Once again, I would like to say that I absolutely agree with the motion. This house regards the proliferation of the e-sport ecosystem in schools, including extracurricular e-sport activities and school level e-sport competition. Thank you.
Closing debate, we will run for the second speaker of closing opposition.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I am Alexander Deza as the whip of closing opposition, and I would like to state my argument, and I would like to state my side of our side of the argument. So, basketball, volleyball, air sports, they are supported by the school because and they have facilities from the school. And why isn't this extracurricular that is e-sport not also supported by the school? 1 hour. 1 hour is not able to you cannot play a game in 1 hour. That's because you're not treating this as a serious extracurricular. You're not this is not treated as a professional thing, as a serious thing. Basketball, I'm going to take an example of basketball. Basketball is also a game, but it is also a sport as well. And now it is made competitive. And esports is like that. Because you have two sides. You have the opponent and you have yourself. This is a sport. It develops competitiveness. And this competitiveness would lead to competitiveness in school, with competitiveness in other aspects of life. Not only competitiveness, teamwork is also a main factor of esports. You're playing with a team. You're playing with not only with yourself, but with other people as well, with your teammates. This will promote teamwork within you and other people. Addiction of games. Now we're going to talk about addiction of games. Addiction of games can be solved by student counseling. Why? Addiction of games can be solved by student counseling, because student counseling teaches us about time management, about how to control yourself, and that's what student counseling is. Now, my partner also said that games. My partner has said people make games, have made games from this game, and this can also be caused, and the interest of game itself is caused by actually liking the game. Esports does that as well, and not only that, competitiveness of the esports will make you seek out a better game. Will make you seek out it will make you seek out how to fix the game, how to see better performance for the game, and this could also lead to technology. You cannot. I'm sorry, but you cannot be able to do it. This could lead you to interest in technology, because you are seeking a better technology. You are seeking a better chance from this competitor to develop more technologies. This example has also been clearly seen by NVIDIA that made GPUs, technologies for gaming, and is now being used for supercomputers outside India. This correlates with the interest of gaming within people. And I would now say that gaming is not esports. Well, true, it is esports, but gaming casually is different from esports. However, because again, what the CG have said, that brought an example of the GTA, Genshin Impact, they are not competitive games. They are not esports. They are casual games. And also physical. And I would like to respond with physical. Gaming is not a physical activity. Are you sure that chess is also a physical activity? Chess is also a sport. It is very competitive. Gaming is basically like chess. However, because gaming is basically like chess, because you're dealing with strategies, you're dealing with speed. You're predicting your opponent's movement. So basically, chess and gaming is not that different. Gaming also, and I want to emphasize this again. Gaming, there are esports. From esports, you are trying to get, you are trying to win. With you winning, you will get publicity. You will get, other people will hear about you and will think you as an important person. Now, and what you could do with this is what my partner has said, is that you could seek out scholarships from other schools. And thank you